afternoon, friends. So in this video or in this class we will understand how to find the critical clearing time for some special cases, critical clearing time using swing equation. So in this class we will see how to find the critical clearing time using the swing equation, but we need to keep a point in our mind. So the important note related to this particular critical clearing time using swing equation is, so it will be applicable only to special cases. See, what are the special cases? We will understand. So I will just introduce some of the cases. For example, when you have a synchronous generator and you have a transformer and it is connected to a double circuit line. When it is connected to a double circuit line, so if the fault occurs very much nearer to this bus or very much nearer to this bus, this is one situation. In this situation means, what is this situation called? Here the fault is near to the bus. The fault is near to the bus. It may be sending end bus or receiving end bus, whatever it may be. So when the fault is near to the bus, what happens? During the fault the electric power is zero during the fault. Why during the fault the electric power is zero? So during the fault, if I draw the circuit, it will look like this. So you have a reactance of transformer, right? And as the fault is occurred near to the, if you observe this fault, first type of fault, you will have like this, and this is grounded, and you have two reactances that are connected to the infinite bus. So this is the equivalent reactance diagram when the fault is occurred near to the sending end bus. Okay, or if the fault is occur near to the receiving end bus, then how the reactance diagram looks like? So you have so you don't have short circuit here. So here you have these two reactances and you have the infinite bus like this. See, this is the reactance diagram. This is the reactance diagram when fault is near to the sending end bus, and this is the reactance diagram when fault is near to the receiving end bus. So okay, when the fault is near to receiving end bus and when the fault is near to sending end bus, in both the cases the electric power is zero, because you have this voltage as 0 and here you have this voltage as 0. So the electric power is given by, actually it is EV by X into sine delta. Okay, so as the electric power is to be 0, this cannot be equal to 0, sine delta cannot be equal to 0, so this must be 0. When this has to be 0, E cannot be 0, so V is equal to 0, because here you have grounded and here it is grounded, right? So when the fault is near to the bus, whether it may be sending end bus or receiving end bus, the electric power during the situation is 0. Okay, next we will see the other case. The second case is fault is exactly at the bus. Fault is exactly at the bus. It is same as fault is near to the bus, right? So I can say this as this situation is similar to the situation fault near the bus, right? Is similar to fault near the bus. So we can treat both the cases as same. When the fault occurs at the bus, exactly at the bus, when the fault is near to the bus, in both the cases the electric power is said to be 0, right? These are the two cases. And the third case is when the generator or synchronous machine is connected to infinite bus through a single line, not a double circuit line, through a single line, and the fault occurred in the line. And if the fault occurs in the line, what happens? In that situation also, for example, you have a synchronous generator and you have a transformer, right? And this is connected to one bus and this is receiving end bus. You have only one line. When you have fault occurred here, now how this is converted? It is converted like this. This is half of the reactance. For example, if I assume that the fault occurred at the midpoint of the line, this is half of the reactance, and you will have another reactance like this. This is another half, and you have grounded here. This is infinite bus. So when the fault occurs at the midpoint of a single line, which is connected in between the synchronous generator and infinite bus, so the equivalent reactance diagram looks like this. As it looks like this, the electric power again is said to be 0. So in all the three situations, as the electric power is equal to 0, now see, these are the three conditions where we can apply or where we can find the critical clearing time using swing equation. Otherwise in all those situations we need to go for point by point method in order to know the variation of delta with respect to time. From that variation or from that graph we can find delta CR, and from delta CR we can find critical clearing time TCR, okay, in all other situations. But only in some special cases we can find the critical clearing time using swing equation. Those special cases are when the fault is occurred near the bus, either it may be sending end bus or receiving end bus of a double circuit line, and another special case is when the fault is exactly at the bus, and the third case is when the line is when the generator is connected to infinite bus through a single line, right? In all these three situations we can find the critical clearing time using swing equation, right? In all these situations what is common? So can I write here, in all the three cases what is common? PE is equal to 0 is common, means the electric power during the fault is 0. In all these situations the electric power during the fault is 0. Now what is the swing equation actually? We know that the swing equation is m d square delta by dt square is equal to ps minus pe, accelerated power. Now as pe is equal to 0 during the fault, in all these situations we can write m d square delta by dt square is equal to ps. This is the shaft power. Shaft power is constant. Under these situations we will take that the shaft power is assumed as constant, right? Now how this equation is converted? Now I can write this equation as d square delta by dt square is equal to ps by m. Now integrating on both sides, integrating on both sides with respect to t, with respect to t, right? You will get, if you integrate this side, you will get d delta by dt, and it is a constant because for a particular machine moment of inertia constant, and here the mechanical power is constant, shaft power or mechanical power. This is constant and this is also constant, so the entire ratio is constant. So as it is constant, I can take it out of the integration and I can write this as t, right? Integration of dt is dt plus some constant a, assume that constant. In order to know this constant, we need to take the boundary condition. What is that boundary condition? At t is equal to 0, at t is equal to 0, what is d delta by dt? Because at t is equal to 0, the system is at stable condition, means delta value is equal to delta naught. It is not changing with respect to time. So at t is equal to 0, d delta by dt is equal to 0. Hence, at t is equal to 0, d delta by dt is equal to 0. Since at t is equal to 0, delta is equal to delta naught. So we can write now d delta by dt is equal to ps by m into t. Is it right? Now again integrate on both sides. Integrate on both sides. See, here we are doing it in a simple way. The reason is due to this reason. As the electric power is equal to 0, this electric power includes the term sine, right? So as the electric power is equal to 0, our means our analysis becomes simple. Now if you integrate on both sides with respect to t, if you integrate on both sides with respect to t, you will get delta, right, is equal to, what is the integration of t? T square by 2 plus b. This is another constant. Okay, let me finish this in the single page itself. So we started from here, moves like this, and after this I continue like this. Next let us come here after this. Now in order to find b value, again we need to take the condition at t is equal to 0. What is delta value? Just we have determined it is delta is equal to delta naught, because before the fault occurred the system is in stable condition, so the load angle delta is equal to delta naught. Now tell me what is delta? Delta is equal to ps by m at t is equal to 0. As delta is equal to delta naught, what is b value? B value is equal to delta naught. So now finally I can write delta equation as ps by m t square by 2 plus delta naught. This is the relation between the change in time, or time and the load angle. So let me write in a separate page. So delta now it is equal to ps by m ps by m t square by 2, ps by m t square by 2 plus delta naught. Now what happens at t is equal to TCR, means at a time of critical clearing time. At critical clearing time the angle will become critical clearing angle. So at t is equal to TCR, delta is equal to delta CR. So now delta CR is equal to ps by m. Now what is t? T is converted as TCR square by 2 plus delta naught. From this equation I want to find TCR expression, critical clearing time expression, when the electric power is 0. This expression is helpful only when the electric power is 0 during the fault situation, right? Let me write, so PS by M TCR square by 2 is equal to delta CR minus delta naught. Now PS into TCR square is equal to, you can multiply with 2m because it is in the denominator. If you send it to the numerator, it will become multiplication. So delta CR minus delta naught. Now tell me what is TCR square. TCR square is equal to 2m into delta CR minus delta naught divided with shaft power. Now tell me what is TCR. TCR is equal to root of 2m delta CR minus delta naught divided with PS. This is shaft power, right? This is the shaft power. So this is the equation of critical clearing time, where here I want to, if I express m in per unit. So m, actually what is m value? M value is SH by pi f. It is actually the unit, the formula for m. So it is megajoule second per radian, right? So this is the m value. If I want to express m in per unit, m in per unit can be expressed as, if I want to express this in per unit, I need to divide this with s with its rating. So m in per unit is nothing but h by pi f, right? So finally we got expression of TCR as, so this is the expression of TCR. Let us consider this equation as the first equation. So from that I can write, from equation 1, if you observe, critical clearing time depends upon moment of inertia and shaft power. So what I can say is 2 is constant, delta CR minus delta naught is constant, right? For a particular fault, these are constants. So I can write TCR as proportional to root m, and TCR is inversely proportional to root PS. Now how can I write the relation? TCR1 by TCR2 is equal to root of m1 by root of m2. So the critical clearing time depends upon the moment of inertia and also shaft power. How can I write the relation for shaft power? TCR1 by TCR2 is equal to root PS2 by root PS1. This is another relation. In this way you can find the relation between the critical clearing time and the shaft power, critical clearing time and the moment of inertia, and the expression, the actual expression of critical clearing time. Okay, so what we need to understand here is, it will be applicable only for some special cases. What are the 3 special cases? Fault near to the bus, fault exactly at the bus, and when you have a single line in the network. Now we will solve a small numerical problem which is asked in GATE examination related to the critical clearing time. So let us see the question. So this is the question. This is asked in GATE examination. Okay. See, the question is like this. A lossless line, means a synchronous generator is connected through an infinite bus through a single lossless line. Now the synchronous generator transfer 1 per unit power to the infinite bus. So the electric power which is transferred to the infinite bus is before the fault. So I can take this as PE0. PE0. Is it right? Okay. PE0 is equal to 1 per unit. And before the fault occurs, PE0 is equal to PS0. Is it right or not? So PE0 is equal to electric power is equal to shaft power before the fault, and it is equal to 1 per unit. The synchronous generator, now the critical clearing time of circuit breaker is 0.28 seconds. See here, the critical clearing time in the first case. So I want to erase this. I need to consider these all are the first cases. So in the first case, PS1 is equal to PE1 is equal to 1 per unit, and the critical clearing time in the first case is given as 0.28 seconds, right? If another synchronous generator, another identical synchronous generator, so we need to keep this in our mind. Identical synchronous generator is connected parallel to the existing generator, and each generator is scheduled to supply 0.5 per unit of power. So here, before the generator is connected and after the generator is connected, the electric power or the shaft power is not going to change, right? Then the critical clearing time of the circuit breaker will. See here, in the first case you have only one generator, and this is connected to a line to the infinite bus, right? And this is one at an angle delta, one at an angle 0, and this is 1 per unit. In the second case, you have two generators, identical generators. Okay, so these two are identical generators, and they are each delivering a power of 0.5 and a power of 0.5. So, and you have the same line, it is connected to the same infinite bus, right? And as it is total power is again 1 per unit. Now PE2 is again the same, so the shaft power is again the same, 1 per unit. As there is no change in shaft power, what we can understand here, there is no change in shaft power, total shaft power. There is no change in total shaft power. In previous case, the shaft power is 1 per unit. In this case, in the second case, also the shaft power is 1 per unit. So there is no change in total shaft power. Now, when we have two identical machines of same rating connected in parallel, you have the inertia same. Okay, so let me write here identical machines. Let me write here identical machines have same moment of inertia. Identical machines have same moment of inertia. Now when two generators are connected in place of one, what is M equivalent? Previously it is, for example, consider this as M. Now it is M and it is M. Though the power is reduced, but the identical machines will have same moment of inertia. Hence the M equivalent is equal to moment of inertia of first machine plus moment of inertia of the second machine. Now M1 plus M2 is M plus M. So M equivalent is equal to 2M. In the first case M equivalent is M. In the second case M equivalent is equal to 2M. Now as we have seen the relation earlier, TCR1 by TCR2 is equal to root M1 by root M2. Now tell me TCR1 by TCR2 is equal to root of M by root of 2M. So I can write it as root 2 into root M. So you have root M gets cancelled. It implies that TCR2 is equal to, right, root 2 times TCR1. So previously it is 0.28 seconds. It is given in the problem. The critical clearing time of circuit breaker is 0.28 seconds. Is it right? Now evaluate this. So it is root 2 times root 2 times into TCR1 0.28. So it is actually it comes out to be 0.396 seconds. So the critical clearing time in the second case will be 0.396 seconds, whereas in the first case it is 0.28 seconds. See the options. So it is reduced to 0.14 seconds. It is wrong. Reduced but will be more than 0.14, not. Remain constant at 0.28, no. So as it is 0.396, which is greater than 0.28, so this is the correct answer for the question. Okay, so in this way you can solve the problems on critical clearing time. If you know the ratings of the machine, like moment of inertia and shaft power, if you know these in per unit, and if you know the angle in radians, you can find easily the critical clearing time by using this expression. Okay, so this expression is a very important expression, but is useful only in some special cases. Okay, so this is about the topic called critical clearing time deriving the critical clearing time using swing equation. This is about that topic. If you really like this video, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any valid doubts, please post them in the comment section. Thank you very much for listening to this video.